likes to this videos? If we make 5,000 likes to this video, we will upload more patriotic news. Thank you. Congressman tells top Christian pastor that Trump will be assassinated and there's nothing we can do to stop it. In a startling revelation, a senior member of Congress shared privately with a leading Christian pastor that there is a very real plot to assassinate President Trump. Pastor Rodney Howard-Browne of Revival Ministries International blew the lid off the conspiracy just last week. Howard-Browne was visiting with a close friend who is a long-serving member of Congress when he was told, "There is a plot on Capitol Hill to take the president out." Howard-Browne assumed that meant a political coup via impeachment. But his congressional friend quickly corrected the pastor, "No, to take him out. He will be suddenly removed from office." You can read between the lines. When Howard-Browne insisted that would never happen, the congressman lamented, "There's nothing we can do to stop it." Howard-Browne, of course, meant that the prayer of millions of Christians would prevent Trump from being assassinated, even if overwhelming forces are aligned against him. Breaking: Look what source and Obama is attempting in Texas. In an opinion piece published in Saturday's Washington Examiner, Texas Governor Greg Abbott issued a warning to the GOP that Democrats in Washington, D.C. are plotting to pour hundreds of millions of dollars in state and local elections across the country in an effort to buy back power. Abbott pointed a finger at hedge fund billionaire George Soros, who is helping to fund the National Democratic Redistricting Committee so that it can take away control from voters, noting that congressional redistricting will go into effect in 2021, when booming conservative states such as Texas will gain seats in the U.S. House of Representatives. He said that one of the group's goals is to reinstate Representative Nancy Pelosi as Speaker of the House. But that's not all. Headed by former Attorney General Eric Holder, the tax-exempt 527 Political Action Committee plans a three-pronged attack to flood state-level races with outside money, to leverage activist courts to wrest control of state redistricting plans, and finally, with the formidable community organizing prowess of former President Barack Obama, to fund astroturfed ballot initiatives in the guise of fairness, he wrote. He noted that Obama's tenure as president for 8 years was disastrous for Democrats, who lost more than 900 state legislative seats. However, it was great for Republicans, who were able to win the majority in both chambers in 32 states. Resoundingly rejected by voters, Democrats' last hope is to pervert congressional district maps to subvert the will of the people, stated Abbott as he laid out their plan. Every 10 years, states redraw their legislative and congressional districts based on census population changes, he explained, noting that because people are known to move to more successful communities, Texas has grown more than any state in the nation. And many of those new Texans once lived in Nancy Pelosi's California. Less government, lower taxes, smarter regulations, and right-to-work laws, these are the pro-growth economic policies that help our homegrown businesses flourish and that attract employers to Texas from states that overtax and overregulate, said Abbott, explaining that the conservative economic policies which have fostered such economic growth are threatened by the Democrats' plan to re-engineer Texas district maps to make them look like California's maps. According to Abbott, the Soros Network has their sights set on redrawing congressional districts in the Lone Star State to push their progressive agenda and turn the Texas dream into a California nightmare. In fact, the Democrats are looking to redraw hundreds of congressional districts across the nation, stated Abbott, adding that Soros is no stranger to election meddling. Soros' modus operandi is to flood his chosen candidates with overwhelming amounts of cash to spend on negative campaigns. In 2016, he reportedly spent nearly $11 million on a dozen local district attorney races, including one in Harris County, Texas, said Abbott, noting that most of his selected candidates won. What Obama could not accomplish while in office, turning red states blue, he will attempt to do now through the machinations of this supergroup, a partisan focus on becoming a former president, said Abbott, who vows to keep Texas a bright, vibrant red and will run for re-election. I'm running for re-election to make sure that San Francisco liberals such as Pelosi will not be running our great state. I'm committed to preserving Texas liberty. And I will continue to fight back against the liberal agenda that threatens the future of our nation, he stated, adding, the GOP needs to take the Source Network and the Holder, Obama, and Pelosi alliance seriously. Making it clear that the integrity of the people's vote is at stake, Abbott called on Republicans to take immediate action. Complacency at the state and local level in 2018 will threaten the integrity of our elections and the future of our nation for generations to come. Breaking: Rand Paul just revealed Trump's next move on healthcare. It's brilliant. Real conservatives are sick of the traitors in the Republican Party, traitors who are preventing a full repeal of Obamacare. Senator Rand Paul, RK, is urging President Trump to take executive action to effect the repeal of Obamacare, reports Breitbart. The latest effort to repeal the healthcare plan was blocked by John McCain and other rhinos last week. While President Trump cannot single-handedly repeal Obamacare, he can remove many of the most egregious and expensive portions of the failing Affordable Care Act. One measure Sen. Paul is pushing for is allowing Associated Health Plans, AHP. These plans would allow individuals to form groups and negotiate with insurance companies together. Groups like AARP, an Association of Retired Americans, could approach insurance companies as a group and obtain a lower rate for all members. Additionally, President Trump could open up the Obamacare markets, allowing Americans to purchase insurance plans across state lines, lowering costs and increasing competition. President Trump could also single-handedly reform Obamacare by introducing state waivers, giving local government more control over their own state's insurance markets. State waivers would allow states to implement tougher restrictions to qualify for Obamacare, including work requirements, drug tests, and other measures to ease the financial burden of Obamacare. President Trump has expressed interest in executive action, but he is hoping Congress will step up before he gets involved. If a new healthcare bill is not approved quickly, bailouts for insurance companies and bailouts from members of Congress will end very soon. President Trump tweeted Saturday. Obamacare would immediately fail if President Trump stopped bailouts for insurance companies. Insurance companies have already been forced to pull out of hundreds of counties as they are continually losing money. As a result, many Americans are left without any insurance providers in their area. President Trump has already eased enforcement of Obamacare, and the IRS claims they will not go after uninsured Americans. However, only a complete repeal and replace of Obamacare can fix the insurance market. Obamacare has been in a death spiral since its inception and will fail completely if President Trump stops the bailout. Bill Gates admits Trump is right, warns U.S. will be taken over by migrants if not. According to Bill Gates, Europe will be overwhelmed unless it stems the flow of migrants soon. As if the migrant crisis wasn't bad enough in Europe, now Bill Gates is joining the chorus of sane-minded individuals who are seeing the potential issues with unmitigated migration from African and Middle Eastern countries to Europe. Speaking with a German newspaper, Bill Gates said, as translated by Breitbart, on the one hand you want to demonstrate generosity and take in refugees, but the more generous you are, the more word gets around about this, which in turn motivates more people to leave Africa. Germany cannot possibly take in the huge, massive number of people who are wanting to make their way to Europe. Europe must make it more difficult for Africans to reach the continent via the current transit routes. People are starting to jump on the idea that maybe, just maybe, migrants aren't the best thing to be importing en masse. As reported previously, the European Union recently acknowledged that the majority of migrants attempting to enter Europe are not refugees but, rather, economic migrants. Over in the U.S., when Trump signed a new executive order for a travel ban, liberals freaked out on Twitter. But although liberal judges and Hawaii's Attorney General gave Trump one hell of a time, the Supreme Court has finally given Trump's travel ban a partial green light. After the Manchester bombing, it's hard to even find liberals who can logically oppose the ban. A video of a reporter asking liberals about Trump's travel ban following the bombing showed even liberals struggling to oppose the ban. Watch Milo talk about the only two things Muslim migration brings. Chelsea Clinton tries to tell white parents how to raise their kids, immediately gets shut down. Chelsea Clinton is trying to build a name for herself on Twitter by offering her supporters pieces of liberal wisdom. This week, Chelsea decided to target white parents in her latest Twitter rant, but it didn't end well for her. Painful and powerful. Thank you, Crystal, for sharing. White parents need to talk about racism and hate with our children throughout their lives, Chelsea wrote. It didn't take long for Twitter users to fire back at Chelsea by letting her know that she shouldn't be telling anyone how to raise their kids. Share this story if you think liberal race baiters like Chelsea Clinton are the real racists in this country. Senator loses it after Trump says he'll revoke Congress' special Obamacare carve-out. Donald Trump was elected because people were tired of business as usual in Washington. Sure, there were plenty of other factors like Hillary's remarkably awful campaign. But, for the most part, the outsider angle propelled Trump to the White House. Recently, Trump continued with the drain the swamp message by suggesting that members of Congress shouldn't be given special health insurance that everyday Americans don't get. From Fox News, President Trump, hoping to prod reluctant lawmakers to once again try for an Obamacare overhaul deal, has zeroed in on a benefit that could serve as a powerful piece of leverage for the negotiator-in-chief. The president's ultimatum to Congress: figure out a way forward on health care, or lose a valuable insurance carve-out for you and your staff. The benefit allows part of their Obamacare premium costs to be covered by taxpayers. As you can imagine, members of Congress are freaking out. Better believe it's a threat. A good one too. Part of the reason that Congress fails to take the Obamacare problem seriously is that they don't have to live through it. They don't feel the sense of urgency because they aren't the ones seeing their premiums skyrocket. It's ridiculous they even have this carve-out in the first place. Props to Trump for holding their feet to the fire. The era of the status quo is over and politicians on both sides of the aisle are terrified. They should